When God takes you off of yesterday's plane and puts you on today's arriving point, it's going to be higher than you were yesterday. But here's the problem. With every new level comes a new devil. Every level of elevation is another level of demonic agitation. And you got to understand that when you come higher, it becomes a stumbling block. That's why they didn't talk about you when you were out on the streets. That's why they didn't talk about you when you had a bomb paper bag in your head. That's why they didn't talk about you when you were strung out. But now that you've come up a little bit and you're telling everybody, look what the Lord has done for me, all of your history makers come out and say, that I remember. And you start getting mad about they ain't like they used to be. I thank God. I'm not what I used to be. Matter of fact, you ought to thank God. And I thank God. Some cars might get broken in. Oh, y'all coming in. You ought to thank God that we're no longer what we used to be. But it became a stumbling block for some. And then he says, watch this. A rock of offense. Strangely enough, the word here offense comes from the Greek word scandal, which we get our word scandal. It means literally something that's going to trip them up. Watch this. Do you not know that some folk whole tripping part, the whole reason of their tripping is not based on their own action. It's based upon their reaction to your action. I'll say that again. I said some folk get up tripping not on their own action, they trip off the reaction of your action. What do you say, Matthew? Well, some folk ain't got nothing else to talk about except you. They come to church just to find something else to talk about. That's scandalous. Because what happens is they ain't even enjoying things until they see you fall. Their whole interest is caught up in you. That's why sometimes I kind of promote this idea of painting a circle around you and then forgetting everything outside the circle and just start thinking about how good God has been to the person in that circle, because too many of us are concerned about others. And if we just be a little bit concerned about how good God has been to us, you won't let somebody else who's not been where you've been delivered from what you've been delivered from dictate to you your response to God when you start thinking about the fact that you could have been still where you were, but thanks be to God in His grace. So it becomes their tripping issues. So not only is a stepping stone, a stumbling block, but it becomes a scandal for them. Scandal. In other words, watch this. The word scandal, breathe the word scandal into that action. For them, everything has to be explained in a negative fashion. Oh, they can't rejoice for God has blessed him with a new car. No, he's selling drugs. Must be. Because I know he can't afford that car. Y'all not feeling me. Why is it if you got to come up with an excuse? Why can't it be God's good? But we have to watch this. The word scandal plays in it. You got to breathe a scandal into every advancement. Why? Because their choice to trust Him has created in the others, the observers, a reason to doubt their trust. Finally. He says here, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient. Now see, that's the reason right there. I didn't even make it up right there. He said that the difference here is the stumbling at the word, which they were also appointed, which means that the word applies equally to them. That if they only apply the word, see, that's the reason why it makes little sense for you to be saved and be jealous. Oh, say that again, Matthew. Thank you. That's why it makes little sense for you to be saved and jealous over somebody else who's saved. Because, watch this, the God I serve did not run out of resources when he blessed them. And that's why, again, jealous, book closed, dogs should not covet, which is the idea of being, you want what they want. You want what they got. And now watch this. God still has some other houses. He still got some other cars. He still got some. You ain't got to have their car. You ain't got to have their house. You ain't got to have their man or their woman. Because God, who's rich, houses and land, he's able to give to you the very thing that causes you to trip off of it. Matter of fact, watch this. One of the reasons I thought about it, that you ought not get jealous over their stuff, is because their stuff fit them. I'm looking down at Deacon Norman's shoes, and they look mighty shiny, but I'm afraid that if I put those on, y'all not feeling me? Because they look like they're about 2 sizes smaller than mine. What God has for him is custom made for him. And what God has for you is custom made for you. And this is why I admonish those of us who may come in regretting that if you're still hearing what I'm saying, if you're still hearing and able to evaluate your life, even though you cannot change some things in your life, you can't go back to your high school days. Okay, amen. Now, there are some areas in your life you just don't have to regret. But when it comes to trusting God, when it comes to reaping the benefit of having a friend like Jesus in your life, touch your neighbor and say, there are some things you do not have to regret. Because you need to get over this, and the way to get over it is begin to make a decision in your life so that you can get through with it. And if you get over it and get through with it, you can get on with it. Because when God has something for you, all it is wrapped and waiting, reserved for you, waiting till you get right in your mind. I believe that God has already fashioned things that are for us, but what he has to do is get us right for the things he's got fashioned for us. So as soon as we stop tripping and start trusting in him and allowing him to change our life, the sooner we can get on with it and we can get through with it, because God has not brought you this far to let you stay where you are. So watch this. If we're dealing with regret, we got to deal with the past. And again, according to the definition, you don't have to regret what you can change. Y'all hear me? If you're listening to it, you can change it. If you're seeing it, you can change it. If you're handling it, you can change it. Where you are is not necessarily where you have to live. The way you talk is not the way you have to talk always. I know I'm still trying to work with some of these customers. Well, that's pain. Because our God is able to bring some changes in your life. Watch this, because there's no need of having what I want to call a recurring regret. If you said it before it got in trouble, why are you going to say it again? Y'all not feeling it. You have to learn that, with regret, that sometimes God allows failure, but your failure is not always fatal. Failure sometimes becomes the foundation for your future advancement when corrections to that failure are made. I know I'm living with some, people, worshiping with some people. I'm around some people who will go back and say, well, if I could go back, I wouldn't change a thing, but the devil is a liar.